गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। दयाकरं दयाकारं दान्तं धर्मप्रवर्तकं प्रणमामि दयानन्दं मदाचार्यवरं परम्। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। Finding inner peace amongst chaos. It's a very pertinent subject, very appropriate subject, because more we see now the state of the world, and also because we are bombarded by news channels, social media, so many things are getting circulated, some problem here, something happening here. Mind is always disturbed, and people do have the sense that the world has become more chaotic now. Maybe it was already chaotic, but we were not actually exposed to the chaos before all information came to us. Sometimes ignorance is bliss, there is a saying in English. We were living, without all of this exposure. But whatever it is, even with the exposure, we should find peace in life. That is a whole, process of spiritual growth. Because life is not always how we want it to be or how we expect it to be. We always look for, as human beings, certain outcomes which are conducive to our likes. So all of us have a set of likes and dislikes. These are called ragas and dveshas in Sanskrit. Raga means binding like. Binding means I want this to happen. I want this. If it doesn't happen, or if I don't get this, I end up sad or I end up unhappy. So my reaction to what I want, if it doesn't happen, I end up unhappy. And dvesha is the opposite. Dvesha is binding dislike. So I don't want this to happen, or I don't want this in my life. So if I don't want something and it is there, I also feel unhappy. So both of these situations trigger our reactions inside. They make us feel unhappy, and if I get what I want, I'm happy. But as human beings, we are all manipulating, the world. We're manipulating people. We're manipulating situations for discovering our happiness. Whatever we look at in life, the main thing we want is what? To be happy. I love that sense of pleased me, because there's no conflict when the pleased me arises. When the pleased me it surfaces, then I have nothing to complain about in the world. So all human beings, wherever you are, whether in Delhi or London or US, are going after this pleased self. This is the first thing that Shastra talks about. There is a very interesting verse that is given in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is an excellent book because it contains the knowledge of the Upanishads, which is very abstract and subtle and not easy for people to understand. It contains verses which reflect the mantras of the Upanishad, but it gives also a way of life. It gives the means to discover that self, that consciousness, that knowledge of the Upanishads. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 2nd chapter, there is a verse where Bhagavan says, Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha agama payino nityaha tan stitikshasva bharata. So first of all, he says, when the senses, which are the 5 means of knowledge, we call them jnanendriyas in Sanskrit. Means of knowledge mean I pick up the knowledge of the external world through these 5 apertures, 5 openings. What are they? Eyes, I pick up form and color. Ears, I pick up objects of sound. Smell, I pick up from my nose. Touch, I pick up from the skin. And taste. My whole experience of the external world is through these 5 senses. So Krishna says there, the moment you wake up in the morning, what happens? The senses come alive. You wake up and the senses wake up and the senses contact the external world and knowledge of the external world takes place. So he says you cannot avoid the senses bringing in knowledge. We cannot avoid. I can't have my ears plugged all the time, right? I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to see anything. It is natural. It happens. Some of the, it's interesting. Some of the sense organs we can close. The ones that we need to close, we cannot close. The ones that we don't need to close, they close, right? So here, the one I need to close is what? Mouth. The mouth I can open and close. But here, these are exposed without my volition, without my will. I get exposed to the external world. So Bhagavan says, as soon as your senses come into contact with the external world, what happens? You are exposed to Shita and Ushna. Shita means cold and heat. You're exposed to pairs of opposites. Not just cold and heat. He includes all pairs of opposites in that exposure. You will have to be exposed to duality in life. The whole Jagat, the universe that we live in, the world that we live in, is an experience of duality. Where there is sorrow, there is going to be joy. Whole of life is what? It is a two-sided, it is a two-sided coin. We only want one side of the experience. But where there is sorrow, there is going to be joy. Where there is joy, there is going to be sorrow. Where there is censure, there is going to be praise. Where there is unhappiness, there will be happiness. Every experience of ours includes this pair of dualities. So Krishna points out, what we experience in life will be the pairs. Now we don't have to worry about one side. As I said, praise, are we bothered about praise? When people praise us, we love it, right? When I'm happy, I love it. When I'm victorious, I love that. So one side of the coin, mind is always able to accept. But what about the other side? So that is where the chaos aspect comes in, right? The other side is something that I don't enjoy, I don't like, I don't want it to be there. So what is Krishna saying? So matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkadaha. On the physical level, you will have to experience pairs of opposites. On the mental level, you will have to experience pairs of opposites. But he says, agama apayanaha, they are anityaha. They are not permanent, Arjuna. He tells him, is anything permanent in life? Can we all look back at our life experience and say, something has remained permanently with us always? One said, happiness has remained permanently with us until this moment. Can we say, I've been depressed all my life from the time I've been born? We cannot say that one aspect of life has remained permanently with us. So what does that show? Agama apayanaha. Everything in life has a nature of changing. It has a nature of shifting. It is coming. He says coming and going, and impermanent, ephemeral, transient, which means it never stays. Whether you're in a situation of dukkha, which is unhappiness, or you have some trauma, or you have some very difficult challenge to go through in life, and you feel in that challenge, what do you feel? Oh, this will never leave me. I cannot get through this. We feel helpless. We feel totally, out of control of our lives. Many people experience that, and a lot of people end up with a nervous breakdown or anxiety attack, panic attacks. These days, much more that's happening with our youth and our children. They cannot take challenges. But life is challenge. We cannot avoid. So Krishna says, when the challenging situations come, what am I going to do? Arjuna wants to run away from the battlefield. He wants to escape from facing what he has to do. What does Bhagavan say? He said, no, you can't run away. You have to keep doing what is to be done. And he gives the whole of Gita teaching to face that. So this is where the teachings help. How do I find that inner peace? How do I find that equipoise, balance of mind? First of all, I have to accept it is a challenging situation. That is the first thing that the mind has to be trained to do. Not resist what is happening. The moment I resist unhappy situation, I am already, heading for this reaction inside. The moment I resist, the moment I accept, yes, it is difficult. I'm facing this situation. I accept it first. And Bhagavan says, Tan stitikshasva. Forbear it, tolerate it. You can't avoid it. Unavoidable situations, the ones that you cannot change, you have to face them. And if you resist it, you're creating, again, unhappiness for yourself. Because they're not in your control. He says to Arjuna very clearly, who is in control of these situations then? How do I know what is going to manifest next moment in my life? Can I control what is going to happen next moment? Do we all know? Even astrologers can't predict accurately what is going to happen, right? So very few can predict. But do we know what is going to unfold for us in future? We don't. Because if we did, we would never be fearful or anxious for future. But as human beings, we always worry for future. What is going to happen to me? Will this happen? Will I have, my children nearby? When I get older, who is going to take care? All of these worries come to all human beings. It is very natural. But Krishna gives Arjuna an ammunition. He gives him an armor to protect himself from challenges. What does he say? Understand that the uncontrollable situations in life are given. Given. When situations are given, what does that mean? There is a giver, right? Whenever you talk about what is given, there has to be a giver. And that giver in our Shastra, in our texts, that giver is known as karma phala data, the giver of the results of action. So whatever is manifesting for me in this moment is nothing but the results of actions, Shastra says, done in past. So I have done some actions in past. This is the order of karma that is brought in. I've done some actions. I may not know what actions I've done. It may not even be in this birth. Because in our, Vedic life, we have many past births as well. But whatever is happening right now, there is a reason for it. We don't have to worry about, finding out which birth I did what. It's enough that we have one birth. It's enough to worry about this life. I don't need to go back and worry about what has happened. So what I have to do is look objectively. I'm facing this challenge now. This is creating chaos in my life. I want to be able to go through this challenge but have peace inside. Krishna says it is possible. It is not easy, but it is not impossible. He says if you understand that it is a given situation, and why is it given? It is given to exhaust your karma. Because we are born here as jivas, individual entities, to exhaust a certain set of karmas, bad and good. Because unpleasant situation means you're reducing your papa account. Your demerit account is going down. In fact, you should be happy because your demerit account is going down. Pleasant situation means your merit account is going down. So, you know, if you look at life clearly, we are here for exhausting both. Everybody has a combination of both. Nobody in this face of this planet has pleasant. Nobody at all. So Krishna says, see my hand. He says throughout the Gita, in the form, not that blue Krishna that we see in all the pictures. He is talking of himself as the cosmic order of the universe. He is the very order of karma. He is the very order of dharma. And that order, just like the order of gravitation, the order of so many orders, thermodynamics, the order of mechanics, so many orders are there pervading the whole universe. So Vedas reveal the order of dharma also pervades this universe. Dharma is our marker for choice, going against ethical norms. Ethics we don't need to be taught. We know, do unto others as you wish to be done by, right? So all the values, universal values are based on that fundamental truth. And if I go against dharma, I create unpleasant results for me in future. If I go along with dharma, I have pleasant results for me. So here is, this is where the order of karma and dharma becomes a very important thing to accept in assimilating our situations in life. So, to assimilate, Krishna says, first of all, accept the situation. See that you cannot do anything by resisting it. You are creating more friction. Friction is always heat. Remember, even in science, when you create friction, resistance is always heat. You want peace. We're talking about P-E-A-C-E, the mental peace, not P-I-E-C-E, not that pieces. So we want that mental peace. So I see there is a reason for this happening, and I see Ishvara. Ishvara is this order of karma and dharma. He manifests in life through pleasant and unpleasant situations for us. So I accept, I don't resist what is in life. Why should I not resist? For my own sake. Krishna says, if for spiritual growth, the life of least non-resistance is the way to spiritually evolve. Where if we constantly fighting with life, constantly wanting to change things, people, situations, I will never live in harmony. See, the mind is always disturbed. Why is the mind disturbed? Why is it restless? Most of the time, mind is restless and disturbed because I cannot accept things in life. Mind gets disturbed when there's friction with life. When you are in the flow, we call it, when you're in harmony with life, the mind never is disturbed. The mind cannot be restless. But it takes a long time to practice this. It is not easy. That's where Krishna, again in the Gita, he gives various tools for people who are interested to discover this emotional buoyancy, I call it. You float in life. This ocean of samsara we have heard, the ocean of becoming. Most people are sinking in that ocean. But the teachings of Bhagavad Gita and the teachings in our Vedānta scriptures help the individual to float in the waters of samsara, so we don't sink. So emotional buoyancy means you don't go up and down like a yo-yo in life. You don't go high when things go your way. You don't go low when things don't go your way, because you see an order there and you acknowledge the order as Ishvara. Ishvara is, in our Vedic scriptures, he is not just limited to any name and form. We are the ones who invoke in Rama form, Krishna form, Ganesha form, Devi form. We have many forms. But in the Veda, that Ishvara that is invoked in so many different forms is one truth, the one truth of the entire universe. So that one truth is all pervasive consciousness. That gives existence to everything here on this planet and in all lokas, in all other worlds as well. Everything is dependent on consciousness for existence. And that consciousness is your true reality. So Krishna says in the Gita, in order to discover your true reality, you have to relatively have a peaceful mind. That's why this first question is very important. The only way to discover peace in chaotic life is by seeing Ishvara in the whole picture, by accepting Ishvara in the form of orders, and by seeing that what you can't change, you can't resist. What you can't change, you don't need to resist, because you can't change it. So when I can't change something, Krishna says, titikshasva. That's a very telling word. Forbear it, tolerate it, because in your mind, what do you know? It is going to go. It is, this too shall soon pass. Nothing ever stays the same. When you have that mantra in your head, there was a story. Yudhishthira, he was feeling very despondent and very sad. He's about to, fight the war, the Mahabharata. They were all feeling nobody wants to go to war after all. And they're fighting their own relations. So he asked Krishna for some advice, how do I get over this? I'm feeling very, very sad, despondent. And Krishna said, take this chit, take this little chit. And when you're, on the battlefield, you're feeling very low, just read what I have written there. So Yudhishthira, when he's on the battlefield, again, he's feeling, all of the Pandavas, Arjuna included, Arjuna got the teaching, but they're feeling, what is all of this? Why do I have to go through this? Then he remembered Krishna's advice, he took that little chit and he opened it, and Krishna had written, this too shall soon pass. This too shall soon pass. This is the mantra he wanted to teach the Pandavas when they had to face the battle. And this is the mantra this Bhagavad Gita gives us. Everything, agama, apayanaha, it is anityaha, whether it is sukha situation, happy situations also don't hold on to. Enjoy while they're there. But what do? We want to keep holding on. Oh no, I don't want it to go, I don't want it to go. Half the time we don't enjoy, when we're on holiday, only 3 more days to go, only 1 more day to go. We don't enjoy those 3 days because I'm already concerned the holiday is coming to an end. So it's a question of understanding the facts of life. Any situation, whether it's sukha, happiness, is going to pass. Whether it's unhappiness, is going to pass. And unhappy, this other rule is what? Happy will always be followed by unhappy. Unhappy will always be followed by happy. And can we dictate how long happy continues and how long unhappy continues? No. Sometimes happy may last longer than unhappy. But sometimes unhappy may last longer than happy. But definitely happy and unhappy are not going to last forever. So this is the way Krishna advises that one finds the inner peace by becoming like Teflon, non-stick, non-resistant. In fact, I can give a whole class on the first thing. There are many, many, many ideas, many teachings that Krishna brings into the Bhagavad Gita to help one discover that non-resistance to life. But for now, we can understand when the situation is unchangeable, by resisting it, I'm not helping myself. That's very clear, very logical. So, what is the best way to live? What is intelligent way to live? Don't resist. That's all.